Should you trust the reviews for Brandon J. Broderick and all of his multiple locations? Um, this is a law firm that's been on my radar for several years now, um, for engaging in suspicious review activity. And so I've been keeping an eye on them. I know that at one point in time, back in December of 2023, they lost a bunch of reviews and Google actually turned off the ability for them to get new reviews for at least 5 months. And I was kind of hoping that that would kind of curtail their suspicious review schemes, but fortunately, it hasn't. What they've decided to do is request reviews from people that have reviewed in multiple locations. Um, and I'm also seeing signs that they may be farming out clients to other law firms or exchanging clients between law firms. So let's get into some of the data of what I've actually looked at. So what I've kind of noticed is I went through a spreadsheet of all of their various locations, and they have 100 locations that I've looked at. So you see this column right here where it says mapped. These are locations that I actually went through and actually physically mapped. So so this business has 21 reviews. So I actually went through all 21 reviews. Some of them were quite extensive. Some of them were just a handful of reviews, and it was going to take me a long time. But so say for example this location here at 94 School Street in Yonkers, New York, has 302 reviews. Now, I actually went through all 302 reviews to see how many of the people that reviewed this location either reviewed other Brandon J. Broderick locations or reviewed some of the other law firms. And so here's the data of what I'm looking at. So right here's the 200 West Ave, Saratoga Springs. Here's the name of of reviewers. Here's a link to their profile, and what you're going to see is that they left reviews for at least 2 locations. So they left a review for the 200 West Avenue in Saratoga Springs. They also left a review for the 2355 Union Road. And, I'm not going to try to say that because I'll butcher it. But again, it just shows that they've left reviews for at least 2 of the locations. Now, according to Google, you're only supposed to leave reviews for the location where you actually received the services. So chances are they didn't really receive services at both locations, but I can understand maybe like 1 or 2. But when you're seeing more than 5, that's a little suspicious. Now, what I also noticed was quite a few people were leaving reviews that were set as private as well. So example, I looked at the reviews for this Lancaster, PA location, right? And we see at least 3 locations that have showed up. Now, here's that 94 School Street that I was looking at, Yonkers, that had over 300 reviews. You notice that it pops up here, and David left reviews for 3 different locations. Now, down here, what I found was interesting was I also found a handful of profiles that were set to private, meaning I can't see what other businesses they left reviews for. And you would expect to maybe see a couple of them. But what I noticed is as I started going through the list, you get to like 808 Market Street, and you start noticing how it just keeps happening. So here we have a whole chunk of people who left reviews for 808 Market Street, but also for 102 Browning Lane, right? And as we start to go through, you start seeing, okay, look, there's quite a few locations that are all being reviewed by several of the same people. Now, here's an example of some of the reviews that have been set to private. So what we notice is that Zoe Carter profile set to private. This Kane Delgado set to private. But when I looked at the reviews for 398 North Avenue, we noticed that Kane and Sydney, even though their profiles were set to private, had reviewed at least 2 locations. And this is kind of what I noticed going down. Now, when I said that, I noticed that it appeared that they were farming out reviews or working with our law firms. Here's reviews for 415 Market Street in Harrisburg, PA. And we happen to find a review left for a Morgan location in Jersey City, New York. Now, Jersey City, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania aren't that close together. So why are people using Morgan & Morgan and reviewing this other Brandon J. Broderick location? Okay, maybe it's an anomaly, but unfortunately it's not. As we continue to go through this list, we will continue to see Morgan & Morgan showing up repeatedly. So we can just do a quick Google search or do a quick search on this, and Morgan & Morgan shows up 20 times. So here's somebody leaving reviews for the Connecticut Brandon J. Broderick location. And they left reviews for Morgan & Morgan in Melbourne, Florida, and Morgan & Morgan in Los Angeles. So you're telling me that people are traveling a lot to leave reviews? Something seems highly suspicious. And unfortunately, Morgan & Morgan shows up a lot. Now, Morgan & Morgan isn't the only law firm that pops up, but they're one of the ones that shows up consistently. Now, the reason why I highlight this is because I've seen clear-cut evidence that Morgan & Morgan reviewers happen to review at least 2 locations as well as what Brandon is doing. Now, because of the fact that I saw Morgan & Morgan doing it a long time before Brandon J. Broderick, it makes me think they were trading secrets on how to increase review counts, or potentially working with the same marketing team. Unfortunately, I know Morgan & Morgan's marketing team is in-house, and Brandon J. Broderick for a while was not. They were working with a marketing agency, and I won't name that marketing agency, but I do know who that marketing agency is. So these are just things to kind of highlight. It's obvious that people are leaving reviews for multiple locations, multiple law firms. Again, here's a Morgan & Morgan location in Jersey City. So it's not. There's definitely something suspicious going on here. Whether Google can see it and take action, which they usually will, they'll usually go through and wipe out reviews that are from people that are leaving reviews for multiple locations. But so far, Google hasn't done it in any of the sweeps that they've conducted on Brandon J. Broderick. But Brandon J. Broderick, again, has lost multiple reviews because of not adhering to Google's terms of service. Whether they know it or not remains to be seen. But based upon the agency that they work for and a couple other law firms that worked with the same agency, chances are highly likely that they did know. And the reason why I say that is because it's very, very hard for most people to hire marketing agencies and not know what services they're getting, right? Like, I get it all the time. People hire me and they want a list of everything I'm going to do for them. Because especially lawyers, I mean, they're not going to fork over money unless they know specifically what's happening. And so stands to reason that that Brandon J. Broderick knows exactly what's happening here. And is somehow complacent in it. So again, can't prove it, but the signs kind of lead to the fact that they're in on this one. Here's a great example, right? So you look at the 300 Main Street in Buffalo, New York. And what we notice as we start scrolling over is here we find somebody's left a review for Morgan, Jersey City. Somebody's left a review for Top Dog Law Personal Injury Lawyers in Cleveland, Ohio. Easton Ostroff in Pennsylvania. We have the law offices of Peter and Davis and Associates in Lodi, New Jersey. And so that's kind of what we started noticing is I noticed that as I'm doing these audits, different law firms are popping up. It's not just they're reviewing Brandon J. Broderick, but they're reviewing multiple other law firms. So again, either somebody's having just really bad luck, or they're a horrible driver, or they're, not safe on the road or at work, but they seem to be getting injured quite a lot to the extent that they need to hire multiple law firms for help. And not only are they hiring multiple law firms, but they're not always in the state where they're leaving the majority of their reviews. Now, a lot of the reviews that I've seen were coming from people from Florida. So it's almost like they're using a pool of people to send review solicitations to that are willing to leave reviews. My question is, why are people leaving these reviews? Are they being compensated somehow? What is causing people to leave so many reviews? And unfortunately, I can't uncover that. Only Brandon J. Broderick and Morgan law firms actually know what's happening. But there is definitely something suspicious. Google should definitely investigate this. State Bar should look into this. Attorney General should look into this one. The FTC should look into this one. Question is, will anybody actually take any action and do anything about it? Remains to be seen.